It's the fourth game in the second set of the finals between Magnus Carlsen and Alireza Firouzja. They are playing against each other in the finals of the Esports World Cup 2025. Alireza started off with a win. E4, by the way, has happened. We have the Sicilian here. Magnus goes for the Alpin because he needs just a draw. He's on 2 points. His opponent is on 1. And in case Alireza wins, then we will force the Armageddon here. Otherwise, we will have Magnus becoming the champion and taking home $250,000, which is the reason why you can see that Alireza is going for a slightly offbeat but a fighting weapon, takes the pawn on d4, and now Alireza is going to develop his bishop to b7. Magnus has this very strong pawn on e5. Pawn comes up to c4, kicking the knight away, and the knight goes to b4. Magnus brings out his pieces. Actually, it's very difficult to face Magnus when you are in a must-win situation, because he chooses his openings so well and so carefully. a3, pushing back the knight, and bishop f4, defending the pawn in the center. Alireza plays bishop g7, kind of like the position that he's got. Knight f3, going back. He's trying to protect the e5 pawn here. And now knight comes out to a6. Firouzja is developing in a very interesting way. h4 played here by Magnus. He wants to start attacking on the king side. Firouzja goes h5, stopping the pawn in its tracks. And now pawn to b4, trying to win a piece with b5. The knight jumps back to c7, maybe wants to go to the e6 square. The bishop comes out to d3, knight e6, bishop g3 played. And yeah, Alireza can castle here, but he goes d6, very nice. Black's position looking very promising. Bishop e4 played. You can't take the pawn, by the way. c3 knight is hanging. So bishop e4, short castles by black. And how is Magnus going to deal with all of these pressures here? Well, he simply castles. Alireza defends his bishop on b7. And now rook e1 played. Maybe it's time to trade on e5. Knight e5 seems like a good move, but he kind of makes an inaccurate move by taking with the pawn. Bishop takes c6, bishop takes, knight takes on e5. And now the rook comes to c8. The position is even, but rook c1, Magnus just needs a draw. So Alireza has to figure out some way of putting pressure on his opponent. One idea is to take on d1. So knight goes to d4 here. And knight to d5 played. Now the knight in the center, pretty strong, but takes, and queen takes d4. Very cool. Bishop b7 played, and Magnus can trade the queens here, but he can also keep it on the board. Queen e3 played, and e6. It's a big mistake, because now comes rook e d1. It's a very, very powerful move. And if you play queen e7, let's say rook e d1, Magnus finds it, and look at him. He's so happy after making this move because he knows he's going to win this. Rook d7 is coming to win a piece, and Alireza has to move his queen away. But if he goes to c7, there's the bishop hanging here, and he goes queen f6. Magnus makes a fork here, and now Alireza needs to move his queen away. He goes queen b2, but Magnus can already chop, and he is an exchange up. Pawn push to c5. One of the things that Magnus really excels in is his ability to convert better positions. And look at Magnus there. He's like, let me just focus now. Let me make sure that there is no excitement till I win this game, because it's quite possible that I can botch up this winning position. Queen c2. And now a very good idea is to play bishop e5, which Magnus does, trading more pieces. f6. Alireza somehow needs to keep more pieces on the board. Bishop d6, rook e8, defending the e6 pawn here. And now he plays his rook to c1. Queen goes back to f5. Queen f4, offering a trade of queens. And somehow this is something that you will have to accept. Otherwise, your position gets even worse. So e5, takes, and rook b1 played very quickly. King f7, he offers a trade for the rook. Rook c8 played, bishop e4, c6, and the pawn is queening. Alireza resigns. Magnus is the champion of the Esports World Cup 2025. What a big result for Magnus Carlsen there. And what a nice celebration we have on stage. Magnus puts in his golden key into the trophy. He's the first ever champion of the Esports World Cup. The first time chess was added into the esports arena. And there you have it. Team Liquid is the champion.